Welcome back to Headliners, and kicking off with Monday's Independent, where Islamophobia is soaring in the UK. It's just a thought, but maybe there would be less Islamophobia if the authorities dealt with Islamists, Nick.
Well, it's good that we're giving the other side here as well. So the headline is, I'm too scared to leave my house. Muslim fears as Islamophobic incidents skyrocket by 365%. And this comes from the Islamophobia Response Unit data. And there are claims in here that are worrying. You know, there's a kid who goes to school with a Palestine badge and feels intimidated. And there was a guy in Manchester, 32-year-old doctor, had a brick through his window, and he was worried it was because he'd expressed support for Palestine. And obviously, this is unacceptable stuff. And we don't know the reasons exactly in that case. But you know, and it's not right that peaceful people should suffer because other people are doing things and all this kind of thing. Though this is, unfortunately, the atmosphere that multiculturalism has created, one of basically fear and mistrust, because people have been terrorised by, obviously, Islamic extremism, Manchester Arena killing lots of people, including an 8-year-old girl, Westminster attack, 7/7. Talk about intimidation and fear. I remember working in a shop a year to the day of a year after 7/7, on the year anniversary. No one showed up to the shop in central London because they were still terrified.
Right.
Even though it maybe wasn't logical they'd do it on the same day, but people were so afraid. And now, unfortunately, I'm not saying this justifies it, but then there's now a backlash where, of course, other people are afraid because now there's a backlash, may well be a backlash against people who seem to be Muslim or seem to be too pro-Palestine, and that's probably inevitable, and that's where we are.
Yeah, so do you agree that multiculturalism has failed? Because, we seem to have Muslims feel unsafe, or a lot of Muslims feel unsafe, and also a lot of Jews feel unsafe. Yeah. We're seeing sort of internecine rivalries from other countries.
Well, this whole idea of multiculturalism is not what was wanted. We wanted one culture, one team world. That's what they wanted. They want everybody to be exactly the same. In America, there's the melting pot. Yeah. Multicultural never works. The idea is if you have a little bit of everything, then they blend together. It's like making a stew, whatever. You add a little bit of potatoes, it doesn't become a potato soup.
Yeah, but I think in America, everybody's united under, being American. There's a real sense of patriotism, or certainly there used to be a real sense of patriotism and poverty in one country under God, whereas in Britain we're all like, we're very sort of down on ourselves and want to be, cucked and beaten by other cultures.
You can't be English. You can't move here and become English. I mean, over time you can, but
I did it.
Yeah,
you can become British.
You can become British, but what does it mean to be British?
Because I think English is an ethnicity, whereas Britain's a sort of concept, isn't it?
Exactly. Whereas America is not an ethnicity; it's a concept. But then America's a much better country.
British values of individual rights, I think that's a key one. Individual rights and tolerance and returning a shopping trolley and being able to form an orderly queue. These are that's the foundations of civilization. Yeah,
but by the way, when you say multiculturalism has failed, pedants will pick you up on that because Hugo Rifkin did this about Svella Bradman, because multiculturalism always meant retaining autonomous cultures. What she really meant was we should have gone for integration and assimilation rather than multiculturalism.
Right.
Well, and the roots of the lack of integration were the first wave of immigrants that came to the UK. People didn't think that they were going to stay because I guess people thought, well, it's rainy and cold here. Why would you stay? So people brought their cultures and built their religious houses and all the rest of it, and ended up staying. I think if people had thought it through at the time, they'd have been more integrationist.
No, what happened was I disagree with you. It's the world is a much smaller world, so people could go home. Back in the day, they couldn't go home. You moved to America, you couldn't suddenly next year go back to Italy.
They only sold one-way tickets.
Yes.
Anyway,